There has been a lot going on in our world, everybody. So we have stories from the world of sports and tech. The sky is orange in the Northeast, and so much has to be taken in, and we have to make our mark on it. So this is an edition of the Tweet Cap here on the Productive Conversations podcast. Ryan and Rocky are joining us once again. What is up, gentlemen?
Hey,
How's
hey.
it going?
Oh man, like I said, there is a lot to talk about, so this is going to be a good time. And I forgot to put my stopwatch, so everything's going to be a minute. Put that as a mental note for me. But all right, guys, like I said, so many big stories. Let's talk about the biggest one right now. So it was announced on Tuesday, the world of golf completely changes forever. The PGA Tour and Live, two opposite professional golf leagues based in the United States, the biggest of them all. Obviously, the PGA goes way back to the early 20th century. Live becomes a startup only a year ago to compete with PGA, and they went back and forth for a year, and this is what happened. On Tuesday, the PGA and Live announced the creation of a new entity that would combine their assets. The PGA Tour and Live are merging, as well as the DP World Tour, and that radically changes the world of golf. Professional golf is now under one entity. The players who left the PGA to go to Live are coming back, and this definitely has had mixed reactions. Mainly, the good news is that people are happy that the very best golfers in the world will be in one league. The bad news is, or well, depending on if you think it's bad or not, but the controversial opinion and the controversial fact is that Live is going to be the financial backers in this new league, and Live is run by the Saudi Arabian National Fund, known as, let me get the
Public
right word for
Investment
it.
Fund.
Yes, the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, the CIV, will be the financial backers in this, and they ultimately will have more power than the PGA. Jay Monahan, the CEO of the PGA, people are upset at him because a year ago he told people, don't join this league that is
A year
backed and
ago,
financed
no,
by the
hold on.
Saudi
I'm
Arabians.
sorry. A year ago, he said, and I quote, "You'd have to be living under a rock to not know there are significant implications as it relates to families of 9/11. I have two families that are close to me that lost loved ones. So my heart goes out to them. And I would ask any player that has left or any player that would ever consider leaving, have you ever had to apologize for being a member of the PGA Tour?" He compared joining Live to 9/11.
Exactly, with Saudi
So
Arabians ties with that.
he didn't just like hit the moral high ground. He freaking stomped on it. He was like, "You're a terrorist if you leave for Live." I will say there's been a couple of things, especially today, that have come out that change a little bit about what you said. So yes, it's one entity, but there is still going to be Live Golf and PGA Golf and
Yes, for the
DPS.
next year, they'll officially merge starting next
Oh no,
year.
no.
That'll be when they come in
Even after that,
24.
it sounds like they're going to be keeping themselves as individual brands. Jay Monahan, the current commissioner of PGA, is not necessarily going to be commissioner of PGA. He's going to be the CEO of this new for-profit company that is absorbing both Live and DPS and PGA. So
DPA.
like for people who follow us on the wrestling shows, I think we talked about this very briefly with the Endeavor deal that was struck with that. By the way, the Saudis wanted by WWE, but we held strong. We just do a show every year. But anyway, Vince McMahon is no longer chairman or no longer in charge of WWE. He's actually the chairman of the board of the new larger entity that is over WWE and UFC, so it's something similar to that. So there is no guarantee that PGA golf and Live Golf are going to be considered the same thing. There's no guarantee that they're all going to start showing up every Sunday at the same tours, who makes the cut, the whole 9 yards, like the PGA rules. It is possible they keep them as separate brands with the brands. Sorry, guys. I'm going to talk about it like it's wrestling. You're just going to have to get over it. Separate brands with separate rosters of golfers. Actually, Rory McIlroy today said that there were conversations. They had a players meeting yesterday. There were conversations, and that the folks who left are not just going to be welcomed back in to PGA. That was made explicit. Apparently, that was made explicit to the players who stayed in PGA that was the case. That live golfers were not just going to be able to show up as if nothing had ever happened and they hadn't just left the PGA, which would make sense. PGA is a nonprofit entity; it's supposed to be player run. The fact that this is happening to begin with is a little crazy because it doesn't seem like many of the players knew it was happening.
Yes, and
So
that's the
how is it
problem with
player run?
Jay
Yeah.
Monahan coming in. So yes, golf has been going through a lot this past year, clearly.
Yes.
And Live itself wanted to compete. And before this merge happened, Live with Phil Mickelson went to these guys and say, hey, let us try to work a deal out so we could have both players from each leagues to join and play, correctly. And they ultimately did to say no. And then you bring back the Jay Monahan stuff. And he told his players to stay and be loyal. Don't take the millions. And yes, he used don't join the country that funded 9/11.
Don't do 9/11.
Yeah,
Like
and for
live
somebody
golf.
whose dad was there and came home that day with rubble from the Twin Towers on his suit coming home, it's obviously hits home a statement like that. And if you are gonna say that, you have to stick by it. But now you
Yeah,
look like a jerk off from
I didn't
this.
realize
exactly.
it's going to be two different companies or two different
So they haven't
leagues
said.
still.
There's been very little knowledge about that.
Oh, so that's
Yeah, and
Rory,
that's the thing that
so
nobody
that's
knew.
still being discussed
oh,
whether or
okay.
not it's going to be one thing or multiple things. But today, and this is confirmed. I mean, Rory did say today that they would not be just welcomed back into the PGA with open arms.
I mean, they
Uh,
say that, but I mean,
Yeah,
push
I'm
comes to
pretty sure the
shove.
live golfers are
well,
going to be able
this
to
is
play
there's
in
no
like those
contract.
tournaments.
There's no contract signed right now. That was something they made very clear on CNBC when they sat next to each other. The
Mm-hmm.
Saudi, the PIV guy and the commissioner of PGA. They've signed nothing. And like I mentioned before, the players are actually in charge. It's a nonprofit organization. It's run by the players. The players are in charge of the PGA. Rory is high up. Like he's not a schmuck. You know what I mean? Like if he's telling you right
Yeah,
now, like
credit to him that
yeah,
he was a
and
major person who's been against it from the
against
start.
it the whole time. So I'm saying if he's telling us right now that the PGA players are not okay with the live players coming back full time, I think we can be reasonably assumed that either A, they're not coming back full time, or B, they're about to be paid a lot of money to shut up.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the thing now. Do you pay these people for being loyal? The
they
Monahan
might
did say
have to.
today that yeah, for the people like the Tiger Woods, and the numbers I'm gonna tell you haven't been confirmed, but offered 800 million to join Live.
For live, yep.
You have Rory
It's
at
turned out
200
800 million.
million, Hideki Matsuzami, who's huge, more huge around international. He's
Mm-hmm.
offered allegedly $200 million. And
John
yeah,
Rahm was
these people
offered about like 150 or something, right? Yeah.
It's
exactly. So
insane.
so 8-figure deals, and you tell him to stay, and you stayed, and then you know what? I'm gonna be the one to make the deal behind your back.
Right. He just took all that money they would have made and gave it to himself. It's
Yeah.
no, he should. I mean, I don't think he will be the commissioner of PGA. The players are getting rid of him, but he found his golden parachute. He's going to be the CEO of whatever this new entity is called, working nice and close with the Saudis. He called terrorists on television. Uh, so he's safe in terms of a job. He'll have the job there. I mean, hopefully the Saudis dick him over. Actually, that'd be kind of fun if they got this deal and they're like, yeah, your players don't really like you anymore, there, bud, and then just get rid of him. Because he's going to be ineffective as CEO. Let's be clear. PGA is still the premier like brand in golf, right? Like
Yeah.
no one would deny
Mhm.
that. I don't think even a big live fan would be like yeah, PGA is still like synonymous with golf. And so that's going to be the biggest brand under this umbrella. If they merge it all together, it's probably going to be under the PGA brand. If they keep it as separate entities, just under a larger roof, PGA is still going to be the biggest of the three. So if the biggest brand you have hates your CEO, you're probably not going to be CEO that long.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be my guess. You're certainly not going to maintain your role as commissioner of that brand.
And
So I think
especially
that
with all all the bad PR.
yeah, I mean, he's going to get paid for this, and honestly, he's probably fine with it. He'll get his big payout. He'll work there for a year or two, and then he'll get forced out. But he'll have made loads and loads of money, and he'll go on to do something else. I don't think he'll have any issues. He'll definitely, money wins, and I think he definitely got the money. But I think it will be interesting. I will say that they were able to play at the majors.
Yeah, everyone, no matter what.
As long as, well, not no matter what, as long as there was,
yeah, as long as you qualified, but no matter what league you're a part of, you could go to the majors.
I could see now that, because to qualify them for the majors without your tour card, there was specific things you had to have previously won. There was a couple different things you had to do to try and get in. I could see them opening up all of the majors to all golf. If they're all under the same umbrella now, because we were at the PGA Championship, Rocky and I, right. The last night of it, or the last day of it, and it definitely was a cool environment to see the live guys. They had a huge following because you didn't get to see them all the time, and so I could see a world where they're like, you know what, let's make the majors like the majors, all the best golfers everywhere,
right? And the one thing, the majors,
they're in.
The majors all are governed by themselves. Like,
they're all separate
tournaments. So I think so. And just to go back before there are some positives here. The fact that clearly with Liv, whether it was the Greg Norman or the backers there, and then being backed by the Saudis, that we've seen the Saudi Arabians trying to have a huge influence on the world of sports. Rocky, I know you're huge into tennis, and they've been dipping their toes in the world of tennis. Obviously, what's going on in soccer now, bringing Ronaldo in.
They might be getting the football team too. They're in talks with the NFL now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure. You don't seriously, we have to watch out what's going on here. And even rumors with basketball. Like, could be a crazy thing. So Kyrie Irving's a free agent, right? And some people think they may be money. Well, yeah, there are people think he might be crazy enough. There are NBA teams who probably don't want to sign him to a super max for one, underachieving, and the bad PR he's bringing. Can you imagine the Saudi Arabians sign him?
Anti-vax is the least controversial thing the Saudis could be attached to. So honestly, anti-Semitism is not as controversial as some of the human rights violations Saudi Arabia is constantly accused of. They would absolutely sign Kyrie Irving 100%.
And the big thing here, so a Saudi-backed professional sports league, they're trying to do the old school mentality that they want to eventually. They got what they wanted. They wanted to merge with the head honcho in this specific sports. This case, the PGA. If you want to go back, the NHL, there used to be two hockey leagues, the NHL and the WHA, World Hockey Association. They wound up merging, and NHL took over there. We had the NBA, and then the ABA started in the 50s, 60s, and they got merged into one league. And then we've had the people fail in the NFL try to merge in one league.
But can you imagine the freaking patriotism? Sorry to cut you off. The patriotism that'll be flying out of The Rock's mouth when he announces he's running for president as the XFL, the person who stood strong against the Saudi Arabians in football. If the NFL merges with the PIV, if the PIV gets involved in football, I can promise you The Rock's going to do so much America freaking, whatever. Red, white, and blue stand for the stars and stripes. Like, he'll go off the deep. It probably worked too, but I didn't know they were into football. Like, they were looking to get into football. Like,
I just saw that on Twitter today.
Yeah, but seriously,
they're trying to normalize themselves.
And obviously, WWE, we know that deal. And clearly,
we stood strong. We sold to UFC, our deepest, darkest rival.
But seriously, this is just. People. To put this all to a head in this sense, before we talk about the one positive aspect, is clearly as you said, Ryan, the Saudi Arabian influence wants to keep going higher and higher, and they're going through in the world of sports. And, despite that dark past, we have to realize that plenty of corporations American corporations and the American government still do business with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And, this is just going to be a trend. Yeah, this is just going to be a trend. And obviously,
what's going to happen when they own the news? We talked about Succession, Matt. That was a subplot, but it's also true. What's going to happen? They're doing it eventually. I don't know which one. Could be Fox, could be CNN, could be ABC, CBS. What's going to happen when they're like, all right, well, we've got all of the sports now. Let's just get the news. Or let's get
then there's going to
time,
be a big Hollywood studios will be next. We're just going to have to sit back and relax and
I guess
just be friends. And this also just clearly shows if you can't beat them, join them. And also one of the reasons why PGA initiated this merger is also because these three leagues were in serious litigation, and Rocky, being the legal expert here, probably there's even better opinion that there could have been a lot of things that have come like a lot of dirt and a lot of shady things that would have come amongst this litigation too. Hence why they wanted to beat it to the punch. Let's just raise it out before it gets bad.
What was the lawsuit over? I didn't know.
Well, Mickelson et al. Sued PGA for not letting them play. That was what kicked it off. But the DOJ, even before LIV, was doing an antitrust investigation.
Yeah, it was mostly antitrust PGA stuff, Rocky.
And so I think they were worried that the players' legal action against them could dig up stuff that the feds would be interested in. To prove antitrust, because I mean they did. They were very, very adamant. It was a coordinated effort to make sure folks like Mickelson, like Brooks, basically the folks who could win, i.e. Brooks Koepka is your PGA champion this year, weren't playing in majors and weren't playing in PGA games with PGA players. Like they got caught doing that, and that's why they were being sued by the players. And I think that they were worried that all the coordination, like as it came out in court, could then be taken by DOJ, who was trying to build a case that, they were doing antitrust activity, breaking antitrust laws anyway. And they were basically going to hand them that information via evidence in a different court case of like, oh, look at us colluding to stop golfers from golfing, which is like the definition of breaking antitrust rules. So I think that was
depends on the sport though.
Well, yeah, and so again, PGA being a nonprofit, that's kind of different from the other sports. So I don't know.
Well, I'm just like, I think it's interesting because baseball has that famous exception to the rule where they have that antitrust exception. Where they were threatening taking
the
MLB at one point. Where the MLB, where they can be the only baseball league.
Honestly, they should.
Yeah,
baseball
you're right.
A good kick in
you're
the
right
pants.
about that. This was. Yeah, Supreme Court granted baseball an antitrust exemption in the Federal League.
Way back in the day. That's not like a recent thing, I believe.
Yeah, this is in 1922 when this happened.
Yeah,
let's overturn that.
They threatened to take it away like last year. I think baseball did something.
Yeah, there was a strike. Major strike having place.
Baseball has more rights than you.
Oh,
yeah. That was a Roe v. Wade joke.
But yeah, Major League Baseball players are represented by union and labor law presides rather than antitrust law when collective bargaining agreements is in place. And that's what was happening last year.
That's so nonsensical. Baseball just gets to do whatever it wants.
I agree. It's ridiculous. There shouldn't be a carve out for a specific sport.
Yeah, like I said that as a joke, but actually that's serious. There are people with less rights than baseball.
Mm-hmm.
What?
That's not true, but that doesn't make any sense.
Stay over there.
I'd have to do more research on this, and I think this might have been a reaction to the Black Sox scandal, which happened 3 years prior when there was major cheating going on. That's what I'm guessing. Again, I have to just do more research on that. But
yeah,
again, back to here. Oh, you're saying?
No, I just say I don't know what caused that to come up a couple of years ago with the antitrust stuff, but yeah, the whole antitrust stuff, I don't know. I think it's ridiculous just because if there's an exception for one sport, there should be an
exception for all. Like it just shouldn't be a rule then.
There shouldn't be a sport-specific exception. But then again, I don't know.
Yeah, and
can you imagine baseball?
Again, anything's possible now. That's the one thing we've learned, that money always wins. Make deals. If you're going to work with the Saudis, try to make the deal right away because they'll just always outbid you. And this is exactly what happened there.
No, don't make it all the way. Like fucking refuse for a year and a half, and then they'll pay you more to do it.
Oh, fine. In that sense, use that as a negotiation tactic. Yeah. But ultimately, a lot of people thought LIV wasn't going to last long. Anyways, some people saw this coming, but didn't expect it to happen so fast. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Jay Monahan clearly has a long way to go in terms of getting any good graces back for making this deal behind the players' back. And yeah, the story is going to continue to develop. And, the next weekend is the US Open. So we'll see everyone coming together there. But the big thing is, again, you do have the all, assuming this all gets past, you know, all the best players are going to come back together in regular tournaments
A lot of
beyond
money
just the
too.
majors. And yeah, just absurd amounts of money. And hopefully those players who skipped out for being loyal can
That's
at
the only
least
thing we
get
can confirm,
back.
right? It's like no matter how they structure it, no matter any of the other stuff we were talking about, factually speaking, all the players are going to earn more money for years to come by playing golf. Being a golfer is about to become even more lucrative, probably for everyone, especially for the real contenders. Like I said,
Oh, yeah.
whether they're together all the time, most of the time, none of the time, whether they do teams, whether they don't, like none of that. That's all like will be interesting, but put it to the side. The take home is everyone's about to make a lot of money, even the folks who didn't go in the first place. It's going to look different because they don't have the guaranteed money necessarily, but everyone's about to get super rich.
How
It's a
long had
good
Liv
day.
actually been around?
Like a year
Literally
and
a
a half.
year.
That's
Yeah, just a
it?
year and a half.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I saw that like for the one we went to, that was the lowest ratings the PGA had in a
Yeah.
while.
That was a big problem
It's a
too, that they
failure for
were
them, yeah.
that PGA was losing a lot of viewerships. But
Anecdotally,
Liv was too.
but anecdotally, I
Oh,
live here in DC, as we all know, and the weekend after the PGA Championship, Liv was at the good old Trump Golf Course here in Virginia.
And Trump called it that this was going to happen right away too.
Sort of, he called it, but anyway, and there was a lot of people excited about it. I actually drove by the golf course.
Yeah, it's like a frat party out there.
Yeah, people were excited. There was a lot of folks at that golf course to watch that live, and that wasn't like a championship or anything for Live. I don't think it was just a regular golf day. But like a lot of folks were excited about it. Even the few days after, there was a lot of people wearing Live gear down here. Like when Live came to this area, it was not a small thing. They closed down part of the highway to get people into the parking. Like it was a real deal. So
Yeah,
they weren't
city,
nobody. Yeah, I'm sure the ratings were down for both, but they weren't nobodies. They were doing some business.
Yeah, and
anecdotally.
Yeah, and apparently they went to, people went to London to try to make this deal, and yeah, it really turned things upside down, and we're gonna see how the story develops more. And Ryan, remember when we were like 17 with our old friend Sam, and we golfed for the very first time ever, not knowing true golf etiquette at all, like showing up in basketball shorts and t-shirts, and
I was
in this
dressed
public
appropriately.
Oh, I definitely wasn't. That's a long ways to go, and
crashed the golf cart too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, forgot about that. I remember it went like just again, just being dumb high schoolers, like.
Yeah.
And now look at the sport now since that 10 years ago.
It's grown. We've grown
a lot for sure, and now
isn't that beautiful?
The most beautiful.
Golf is like the most boring sport ever. I don't even know how people watch it.
I had a great time.
I had a fun time there, but I didn't watch any golf.
Oh, I watched Live the next weekend.
Oh, it was so boring.
I think golf is more interesting if you play it on a regular basis.
I mean, I can't play golf actually. I think Live is what made me interested in golf. Not that I even watched Live, but for me, it felt like the Monday Night Wars, WCW, WWE. We had Live, we had PGA, like it added
they merged,
added drama. Well, yeah, they merged too, but it added a lot. I might actually like it less now that they're one thing. I hope they keep it as separate brands. But anyway, we'll move on.
Essentially, every single league in sports or sports entertainment, except the NFL, because NFL's king, you will be merged or eaten up. Except obviously baseball, clearly.
Well, yeah, because the court's stepping in to keep the Saudis from buying America's pastime.
Oh boy, crazy stuff. Ryan, why don't you switch gears with us and tell us our next story?
Sure. We'll keep it into sports actually. So Rocky's gonna love this if he doesn't already know. They've officially announced the new Madden 24 cover star, and it is Buffalo Bills quarterback and Jeffree Star's secret boyfriend, Josh Allen.
Josh
Allen didn't make the Super Bowl. Hasn't done a lot of things that some other players have done. What do we think about Josh Allen getting to grace the cover of the next Madden game?
I think Josh Allen's had some good PR. It was announced that he's now dating Haley Steinfeld, Academy Award nominated actress.
Beard
and also in the who plays Gwen Stacy in the Spider-Verse movies. I think it's good, but you clearly see the Madden curse knocking on its door, and
Well, that was my next bit.
that was the one thing I just would worry about.
I've lost track. How many of the last I don't know how many of the last cover stars have fallen victim to the Madden curse? Because
The
the Madden
last one
curse.
for sure.
Well, so Matt, why don't you explain the Madden curse for us?
So pretty much every person who has been on the Madden curse, literally almost if you grace a cover of Madden, you will likely get injured. Almost every single person has, or has a horrendous year. The only exception, like Calvin Johnson, 2008, he had another All-Star year. Every single person has gotten hurt who's graced Madden, or they have had horrendous losses. And examples like Antonio Brown in Madden 19, who just went absolutely batshit crazy. We have Tom Brady, who lost a Super Bowl right in there. And
John Madden just straight up died.
Well, yeah, Rob, he died. Rob Gronkowski got injured in 17, bad hamstring injury. Odell Beckham Jr. gets injured in 16. It's or I should say, well, he just had a much worse season. He didn't get injured.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty you have to really watch yourself, and some people get there and some people just get hurt, or they just have very disappointing seasons. And Josh Allen amongst this with the Buffalo Bills, who had a hell of a season to begin with and came up short. And it seems like their time is running out to win, especially with the team they have.
Yeah.
This is if I was a Bills fan, I would be nervous about
Well, that's
this.
where we're going. So that's why I didn't ask Rocky to explain Madden curse. Rocky, real-time Bills fan, how mad are you that the Jets are about to win the division?
I mean, that'd be pretty funny if they do.
But it's not gonna be funny, it's fact. Bills are better than Jets, you could argue. Now they're not. Josh Allen's going out in the third game, let's be honest. So
he does the way he plays, every single game, everyone is just worried that he's just going to get hurt because he does the most reckless stuff. He's jumped over like 3 guys.
It's going to happen.
That has been like the story of the day here in New York. Everyone's talking about it because Josh Allen, he's the Western New York hero kind of thing. Like everyone loves him. And so it's about time that a Buffalo Bills player has gotten on the cover. He's the first one. So
I figured it's your best player before then, killed some people. So
yeah, he's still on the stadium.
Oh,
like he's still.
They can't take those touchdowns away, dude.
Yeah, but you
think killed some? I'm sorry, I'm missing something. Killed some people.
OJ
Simpson.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is
allegedly. Sorry, allegedly killed people.
Well, no, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't. Well, he was found whatever. But I mean, it's just weird. Like you go to the stadium and you see his name on the wall. Like
all these years later too.
Touchdown's a touchdown, Rocky.
I know. But like, it's a little bizarre. Because you see, like they have like the spread love stuff on like
it's horrific. They shouldn't do it. These are all jokes that we're making, but touchdown's a touchdown.
No, I'm just saying it's a very odd. It's a very odd scenario to be in.
No, but I'm being serious.
It's pretty cool.
I'm being serious. The Jets. This is the best thing that's happened to the Jets all year. I'm putting this with Aaron Rodgers. This is 1 and 1A.
Oh man,
that Josh Allen is going to get hurt this season. Plus, we have Aaron Rodgers now.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets hurt. Because again, look at how he plays.
So on coincidentally 9/11 this year, we have to start the season is Bills on Monday night. You have Bills and Jets.
Oh God, please let it be in that game. Oh my God!
If that were to happen,
New Jersey's gonna
a solid 45 million people are gonna watch that game.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah,
the entire state of New Jersey cheering for a man to get injured on 9/11. That's so bad, but it's gonna happen now.
I mean, the Bills have already been cursed, so I think it'll just be like it'll cancel itself out.
You're not going to weasel your way with your lawyer speak. We're not going to weasel our way out of this one. This is our time. We got no one who can
by the
touch us
way,
now. What's
Josh
Dolphins
Allen
and
got
Jets
caught cheating on his girlfriend a few
with
weeks
Jeffree
ago.
Star.
Was it
I
really?
mean,
No,
was he cheating?
I thought it was like another girl, or was it Haley Steinfeld?
Do you not know this joke I'm making, Matt, about Jeffree Star?
Well, I knew that Jeffree Star was trying to imply that he slept with an NFL player last season.
Yeah.
Is it Josh Allen they're saying?
Yeah, so there was a whole thing on Snapchat trying to decode who Jeffree Star had slept with, and they landed on Josh Allen. And so I've been telling Rocky since then. Yeah. This is like one of those like Snapchat channels. Since I saw that, I've been telling Rocky that Josh Allen is dating Jeffree Star, and all these other women are just a beard.
And Haley Steinfeld isn't gonna change his not gonna.
People
make
are
you
saying
feel
there's
better?
absolutely no way he can get her to actually come to Buffalo.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Go Star, you'll
awful
never
Buffalo
go far from Buffalo. I'll figure it out.
She was amazing in True Grit.
You're almost there.
Did you see, by the way, her doing press with Shameik Moore, who plays Miles Morales, and he's just openly flirting with her, and she is just not having it.
She's dating Josh. She's dating Josh Allen.
I know,
Madden cover star, soon to be injured reserve list, Josh Allen.
But Shameik Moore is the first Spider-Man to not be able to have his co-star fall in love with him. It worked with Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and
Tobey Maguire dated
Andrew
what's
Garfield.
Her name?
Yeah, Kirsten Dunst for a little bit.
Good for him.
Yeah, and Andrew Garfield dated Emma Stone.
Racism.
Did he really? That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it's racism, but I mean, might be.
Well, he also just.
What's the difference between the 3 Spider-Man we just named and the most recent Spider-Man?
He did have some bad game, but
I'm just saying it could be that.
And it's hard to compete with a 6'5" NFL quarterback who's a big star too. I mean, that's really who do I pick? Miles Morales, who's Spider-Man, or an NFL player?
I don't even know who this is.
Shameik Moore.
I can't spell. I'm just gonna Google Miles Morales.
Miles Morales.
Oh, Miles Morales. He's
he knows who Miles Morales. He knows who Miles Morales is.
Yeah, he's one of the actors.
Oh yeah, Shameik Moore. He's good. He's in Wu-Tang, the show, and I don't know, and other stuff. But I like and he's awesome as Miles Morales.
Yeah, he's great as Miles Morales.
Across the Spider-Verse is probably the best anime movie I've ever seen, hands down.
He's not bad looking.
Into the Spider-Verse or
across the Spider-Verse?
I haven't seen
the second one.
I haven't seen the second one. I just saw
I saw it 2 days ago. It was great. And but anyways, Josh Allen, you have a lot on the line and you have a risk. And especially if they don't win this year and right before he has to get paid, it's must be nerve-wracking, but maybe maybe Haley will truly show I'm in this by going all the way to Buffalo. And I also just saw another news. Buffalo just announced they're going to put a roof on their new stadium. No, sorry.
No, they're not.
No, sorry. I mixed up. They're going to Jacksonville. Buffalo has a new stadium coming.
Yes.
Jacksonville's getting a new roof. Buffalo's getting a new stadium.
Yeah, they just broke ground on the stadium 2 days ago.
Look at that. See? A lot happening in Buffalo. Get ready.
Roger Goodell was there.
Ooh, everybody's favorite.
Talk about good commission. Honestly, he actually went from least liked commissioner, went down one because golf's commissioner took the lead. But
yeah, exactly.
So Goodell had a pretty good week. No. He's like, they don't hate me the most anymore.
By the way, I have to talk about something that may transcend generations, something that really broke the internet's heart. And how could somebody do this to literally the most important celebrity living right now? It was just announced earlier this week that most important star, the greatest person to ever live, according to some people, Taylor Swift, is now single. She just broke up with the lead singer of the 1975. What's his name? Yes, it's not a good day to be a Matt Healy, and there was a picture of Matt Healy making out with a security guard in the middle of a 1975 concert, and then Taylor and him split up. How could somebody do this to Taylor Swift, guys? How could somebody break her heart?
First of all, she's cheated on men. That's really? Number one. Yeah.
No way,
Sings about
really?
it.
How
Yes,
could she
really.
do this?
I don't
Taylor
know.
Swift is imperfect.
But more importantly, she actually just broke up with her longtime boyfriend recently, or semi-recently, right? So
Which one?
this
Not
is
not
great.
Matt Healy.
Joe Alwyn.
I can't keep up.
Oh, come on now. All right, TikTok, I got this. Joe Alwyn was dating Taylor Swift for a while, actually. Joe Alwyn was from that movie, the one about the war. It doesn't matter. It wasn't, and they were together for a while. They're together, I believe, throughout COVID. However, in her song, some Swifties believe, TikTok knows what I'm talking about, that there was actually coded messages, and that this entire most recent album, Midnights, everyone thought, what kind of album is it? Wow, this is so new. This is actually all a breakup album about Joe, because right when the Midnights tour started, like right when it went out, it was revealed that her and her longtime boyfriend Joe were breaking up. And then she released 2 more songs, like in addendums to the original album that came out midway through. I believe they were actually New Jersey exclusive songs at first. You had to go to the concert at MetLife to get access to them on a Saturday. And those basically explain the whole thing. So for everyone trying to catch up, you got to listen to 2 songs that only people from New Jersey have heard. And then you'll understand that Joe and Taylor were drifting apart, and all of the songs in the album that you heard, wondering who they're about, they're actually all about Joe.
Joe. I'm looking at this Cosmopolitan magazine about the history of Taylor Swift's dating. But again, just how could anybody do this? Unbelievable, Matt Healy. How'd you drop the bag?
Unbelievable, Matt.
Well,
Well,
how
I
could
will
he
say
drop the
that,
bag?
like right now, Taylor Swift is swimming in so much money. You want to keep that around a little.
Yeah, she really is. This Eras tour. I mean, I've never seen so many people on my social media take a picture of them all in the same place at the same time.
There is a study right now.
Oh, by the way, you're talking about Joe Alwyn?
That's what I said. Alwyn.
Oh yeah. I didn't know if you said his last name, but yeah,
was
Matt.
he in Dunkirk? Which war movie was he in?
Joe Alwyn. I mean, as I'm looking that up, what were you about to say?
There's actually apparently a scientific, like an actual real research study looking at people who have blacked out at Taylor Swift concerts. All right, so the what I'm saying is when people go through a severe trauma, a lot of times they will basically block it out. Scientists know this is factual. It's not guaranteed, but it's something that happens in moments of severe stress and trauma. Apparently, there's been reports now, significant enough to warrant a study of them, that folks have blacked out and repressed, not through pain, of course, but through sheer excitement and joy, portions of the Taylor Swift concert. They blacked out. And the scientists are looking, because this would basically say that you can actually feel positive emotions so strongly that they also turn your brain off in the way that traumatic and fearful emotions can do. So they're actually testing this out. Apparently, there's enough people to make an actual study out of this. Enough people have reported this to their doctor that they've lost time, that they've blacked out, and they can't remember certain points, certain aspects of their time at the Taylor Swift concert because of presumably happiness. And so, yeah, Taylor Swift has actually altered people's brain chemistry. It may, in addition to, of course, her musical contributions to the culture, contribute to scientific scholarship. And so I've been arguing with Matt for a few days now about, should we call Taylor Swift the most important person? Because arguably, like popes and there's only one, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, there are important people.
Who's got more followers on Twitter? Taylor Swift or the Pope?
It's got to be Taylor Swift, but I mean,
or the Pope. Seriously, I mean, by the way, Joe Alwyn was in
Billy. You should probably know that for a tweet cap.
You really should. Matt.
Billy Lynn's Longtime Halftime Walk is the movie the war movie you're talking about.
Okay.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Barack, they have to commit. She has to commit to like 4 years.
Can you imagine? I mean, these people, these Swifties, I'm amazing. Listen, I support you supporting things that truly make you happy in this world.
Exactly.
But people really do the most absurd things. I remember there was this TikTok of somebody like staying like 5 hours post show. Is Taylor coming back? Is Taylor coming back? These are
that person's
grown
probably
women.
in a scientific study now.
You could do these scientific studies.
She's probably in that scientific study. She forgot.
What did Taylor Swift do that, like, who's the biggest single? Like, is she on that Elvis level? Is that fair to say right now?
I so that's hard
Or
for me
Michael
Elvis
Jackson
has
at
that
his
new
peak?
movie.
because what genuinely, and Swifties, go ahead and answer this at RPP95 at T Tweetcap, whatever. What has she done for music? Okay, like she's done a lot for Taylor. Taylor
Yeah.
Swift's a household name. She's a quadruple zillionaire. Like, yeah, she's done a bunch for Taylor, and good. Grab the bag, dude, go for it. What has she done for music? And again, you could say, well, Elvis did steal all of his sound, the entire thing, but he did take a music that not as many people were listening to, and he went ahead and put it on the mainstream radio. Michael Jackson, people had never seen someone do what Michael Jackson did in terms of the actual, like, the stage performance, the dancing, all of that. Like, you know what I mean? And no one has ever done it as young as Michael Jackson. Like, really? Like, name another person who was like 5 years old, whatever he was, 8 years old, and then went on until he died as a massive, pop star. Like, he changed, frankly, what it meant to be a performer, not even just music. He changed what performers were look like. I mean, he's one of the first child stars.
Yeah,
And
true.
like he was a blueprint for what that could look like, the good and the bad of like child stardom. He's literally the caretaker of that. He showed both sides of that coin. So like, yeah, Taylor Swift, obviously incredibly culturally important to the music right now in terms of just sheer number of fans and the sold out shows, the music, whatever. I guess the only thing I could say is, has there ever been a female artist as popular as Taylor Swift?
I guess Beyonce's, you can argue her.
Right. Like, you could, if
They
you
had
were
the
trying to,
Beehive
right, if
and
you're trying to make the argument that
Beehive
Taylor
versus
Swift,
Swifties.
like, if you're looking for Taylor Swift's like contribution to music, and I don't know the numbers, but that's probably the only place you could find that. Like, I don't. That's the only way you could be like, oh, she's like Elvis.
Yeah,
In
that's
terms
and
of
I
like having a historical impact on the music industry and on music and the way we listen to music, because she's just a pop star. Like, you can hear Taylor Swift without Taylor Swift. You can hear other people do Taylor Swift.
You're right.
Like, she hasn't. She's good at it, obviously, obviously.
She's very
But
talented. There are some
yeah,
awesome songs she puts out.
yeah. So I'm not. This is not an insult to her at all. I'm just thinking, like, what is the there, and I'm not. Again, when you talk about like Elvis, you talk about some of these other, like Jimi Hendrix, what he did for guitar and for rock music, like, talk about some of these people. I don't know if I can put Taylor Swift in that category. I mean, she's outsold like all of them, at least from their,
Really?
from their when they were alive, when she's alive. I mean, Elvis has had however many years on Taylor. She may have outsold him just proper. I don't know. I don't know their, that, but like, you know, it's just, to me, and again, the Beatles, another one, but the Beatles were the British invasion. They brought a new sound from overseas. Like, I just don't see the historical impact she's had on Western music. I don't see it, unless, again, unless as a woman she's broken a ton of barriers, and she may have. That's totally possible. It's definitely close. I just don't know. And so I think that that's potentially, if she's the most, the highest selling female artist ever, or if she's, won more Grammys than any female artist ever, like if she's done a lot of things for women, then you can make that, say, like, yeah, she's like Elvis. Like, look at what she's done as a woman. Like, that no one has ever been able to do that before. She's the first woman to accomplish this. Then, yeah, I could see the historical significance of that, and like calling her like an Elvis type figure, but I just don't know that information off the top of my head. So
Exactly why I gotta have a Swifty podcast and be educated, simply as that. I just don't know, and I'll take that. All I know is she is a genuine talent who sings very well with some catchy tunes and some very vulnerable, emotional songs.
it's your
But I just
favorite
want
Taylor
to
Swift
know
song?
my
Yeah.
Be Together Forever and Ever. This one,
I like the one where she talks in the middle.
I don't know that one.
Shake It
I'm
Off?
sure.
Yes.
Shake It
Yes.
Off's good.
That's a good. I know that one.
I've even like, what's that? She wears short skirts, I wear t-shirts. I like that one.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, that's a
Taylor
good one.
Swift.
Oh,
Yeah,
careful.
Taylor Swift.
I just don't want to copyright charge. They
No, you're
literally
good.
they'll have a I was looking up even a note done copyright, so we avoid that. We are never ever getting back together. That's my favorite Taylor Swift song.
That's his favorite. Okay. No, I mean, I
Are,
like.
are your significant others Swifties?
Mine is, yes.
Is she planning to see her?
We don't have the funds for that because it's thousands of dollars. But yes, she was until she saw it was thousands of dollars.
Well, that's when we talked. We had a tweet cap earlier about Ticketmaster. They literally projected these tickets are worth $30,000, and the way you're seeing that on reaction is seeing the reaction. And
I think we almost need to apologize to Ticketmaster.
Yeah, right. Almost. They had it right.
I think they may have properly valued what people were willing to pay for.
I'm seriously. On behalf of the Productive Conversations podcast, Ticketmaster.
No, don't apologize. Don't apologize.
We apologize, but maybe there'll be a sponsor one day. Okay, then Ryan's not involved. I am.
I won't be on any of the. It's okay. I won't be on any of the sponsored Ticketmaster content. I'll accept that right now. That's totally allowed in negotiations. You could kick me off of all the Ticketmaster episodes,
and I will only be on the Ticketmaster episode.
Taylor Swift, the Swiftie podcast coming this summer. No doubt about that. But yeah, that is definitely, I think, one of our first retractions of this, realizing they really are worth really worth that much.
After everything Ryan said, that's the first retraction?
Essentially.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
Being this accurate. No much to study?
Why don't we just take the somber part of the podcast, but honor a great man right now? Ryan, what happened? What was your other story?
Yeah. So unfortunately today, professional wrestling and Twitter lost one of the most prolific talents on either of those platforms and mediums, and that is, of course, the Iron Sheik. The Iron Sheik was 81 years old. For non-wrestling fans, you may not know who the Iron Sheik is, or you may only know him as the angry old wrestler from Twitter, because that has become his new personality. But the Iron Sheik was a wrestler from the golden age of professional wrestling, as people call it. Maybe even, frankly, prior to, like, back in the territory age. He was former WWE champion. He's actually the guy who made Hulk Hogan who he is. They ended up not friends, but just factually speaking, WWE wouldn't exist without the Iron Sheik, because Hulk Hogan would not exist without the Iron Sheik. People didn't like Hulk Hogan, but he was the big star, and they needed someone who was willing to have a good match with Hulk Hogan. Not always an easy thing to do, and then let him win. And Iron Sheik was one of the only consummate professional who was willing to go out there. And part of it was because everyone, thought Hogan was a phony, and Iron Sheik is one of the toughest people ever. Like, genuinely, he was on the Olympic team. He's, I believe he was a refugee as well, in like his personal life before being a wrestler. So he's an incredibly tough individual. So he had nothing to prove. He was willing to do the business, dropped the WWE championship, or WWF championship at the time, to Hulk Hogan, which set off Hulkamania, which set off Rock and Wrestling era, which leads us down and down and down now, all the way to where we are today, where it's a global company that just made like a billion-dollar deal with Endeavor Media Group. So Iron Sheik is incredibly influential. This is definitely, wrestlers die, of course, in old age. Wrestling's been around a long time, and they always get a very nice tribute, the bell salute and all that stuff. This is probably one of the most influential folks in professional wrestling to pass away. It's definitely one of the saddest ones since, Chad Gaspard, of course, was incredibly sad. That was recent, but because of how young he was. But this is definitely one of the saddest passings recently in professional wrestling. And so, for wrestling fans everywhere, let the Sheiky baby know on Twitter that you love him, that he's the greatest of the world. Because everyone who talks about him says basically that. And again, for those of you who don't know him, check out his Twitter page. It's funny. I'm sure it will be done now, but his last tweet, by the way, is alive, at least presumably alive, was "fuck the wildfires." So he was a big fan of fuck the insert. Well, usually fuck the Hulk Hogan, but every once in a while he would throw something else in there. Yeah. So his last tweet, he was condemning the wildfires that are turning the sky orange across the Northeast right now. So
Yeah, that man gave it his all. Clearly, invented the Campbell clutch. He was also the champion that did the honors for Hogan too to start his run, and won the championship at Madison Square Garden from him. And yeah, an ultimate Twitter page, truly. And one thing he did, he gave us a mystery. His second to last tweet: "Whoever let the dogs out can go fuck yourself."
Very, very genuinely, very, very funny Twitter account.
Yeah,
obviously, but again, just beyond the funny Twitter account, there's so much that wouldn't be the way it is in wrestling without the Iron Sheik. He was a flamboyant character in an era where that was not necessarily always the case, but he was real in so many ways. I mean, despite playing a Sheik, he felt real in a way that wasn't necessarily common in the 80s. Everyone has a job, Repo Man, et cetera, like era of wrestling. And he had a career that lasted a very long time too, even in WWE and then beyond. So yeah, the Iron Sheik, that's a very sad passing in professional wrestling. I'm sure AEW has done something tonight. I'm sure SmackDown's going to do something on Friday to honor Iron Sheik, but it's definitely a tough one for professional wrestling fans and the industry at large.
We're never gonna forget you, Iron Sheik. We never will.
Champion
Now let's go from one legend to the next. It was announced last week that the Academy Award-winning actor named Al Pacino at 83 years old is about to welcome a child at 83 years old with his 29-year-old girlfriend, who's 29 years old. So let me do the math really quick.
29 years old.
83 minus 29 is 54. So when Al Pacino turned 54 years old, somebody was born, and
now they're having a child.
Oh man, that's gross. Listen, I'm happy to see new life being brought into this crazy world. Now, I don't know if I necessarily think it's necessary for an 83-year-old to welcome a child. We talked about the 79-year-old Robert De Niro welcoming his 7th child, and we thought that was a lot, but now add 4 more years to that. And what am I gonna say? What
No,
what am I gonna say?
Someone take it over.
We've already had this discussion, and Ryan's probably going to disagree with me. But I mean, again, new life, amazing. There should be more children being born, and it's a great thing. But children should have, grow up with a father. And he's, I think, already past the average life expectancy in America, I believe. So
yeah, he's literally going to be one of the oldest fathers on record.
So this guy or this child is just going to grow up fatherless. There's a good chance they'll probably not even know or have any memories of their father, and that is sad.
Yeah, you just have to watch his movies.
I mean, yes, it's going to be very soon where we're going to be talking about how Al Pacino put over Hulk Hogan in our touching tribute to him. But
by the way, I have another crazy fact for you guys after we're done.
Yeah. I think that I said something similar last time, and we mentioned Al Pacino last time, how young his girlfriend was. So we probably actually made this.
That's like you would. That's like the 3 of us at 28. That's like us having
in a way, this child was ours.
Oh,
I think
I can't imagine impregnating someone in their 80s, even getting in the process of making that happen.
I don't think you can, man. I think that biologically speaking, a woman in her 80s is not going to bear children.
True, but like, we had a similar discussion. We talked Succession about Connor being a much older person.
He wasn't 80 though,
but he wasn't 80. Might have been 60, but
I think that. I mean, Yeah, yes, he's gonna be dead before this kid has any solid concrete memories. I said this about De Niro, and it was equally as unconfirmed as what I'm going to say it now. I have to assume that how many kids does Al Pacino currently have?
This
It's
will
more
be
than,
his 5th child.
which is less than De Niro,
Sorry. This will be his 4th child. I'm sorry.
way less than De Niro. Wasn't De Niro almost the double digits? Wasn't he up in Nick
He's
Cannon
at 7.
territory?
He's at 7.
Okay, yeah.
And the 54-year difference he can you imagine? I'm a 55-year-old man. I have a 2-year-old baby. This is my
Yeah.
brother.
It's yeah, and so yeah, I think that there's a really solid argument you can make that the other 3 kids, the other 3 Pacinos, weren't spending a lot of time with their dad anyway. I think you can make the argument that the parenting probably wasn't the primary goal of Al Pacino, in the same way that it probably wasn't the primary goal of Robert De Niro. When you can have that many kids, De Niro's case specifically, that many kids with that many different women, then there's only so much in my opinion, only so much you can care about those kids. And so I think that, I mean, yes, they won't know their dad, and you can certainly, as Rocky's tried to do, be like, oh, that's sad. And yeah, on paper, sure, that's sad. I think they were going to be ignored anyway. Rocky would be my rebuttal. And they get to be a Pacino. You know
It
how
doesn't
much
make it
money that's
better.
worth? No, it's not better. I think it was going to be kind of bad either way, and at least they're rich. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of folks
Can I
who
say
don't know
something
their
about this
dad,
baby
and then
mama?
they're poor. Yeah, so I mean, there's plenty of people who don't know their dad.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing.
I'd say it was. I'm just saying, if you're gonna not know your dad, it'd be nice. Yeah, at least you got lots of money and you know who your dad was. Like,
Well, yeah,
he was a famous
that's
actor.
true, but at the same
But
time, you'll know him from movies when if he's a good actor, it's literally not him.
yeah, but I'm just
Al
saying, like,
Pacino's legitimately one of the greatest actors to ever live,
Well,
both
maybe
on
I don't know
stage and
nothing about
screen.
him.
Well, for the people who are aware,
yes.
he's a legend. He's
For
a
the people
true
who know
legend.
Al Pacino,
Yeah, I
you
don't
don't
think
know who Al
I don't think
Pacino is.
I don't think
Yeah,
I've ever seen a single Al Pacino movie.
You've never seen any of the
you never see
Scarface
like
movies?
Scar or Godfather
Or Scarface? Yeah.
No.
What else is he in?
even
He's in
Jack and
Jack and
Jill.
Jill.
No,
We
I
both
mean,
said
I
Jack
haven't
and Jill.
The truth. I mean, there's Serpico, Justice for All, Son of a Woman, Dick Tracy, Dog Day Afternoon, Glengarry
How did
Glen
we
Ross,
both?
Devil's Advocate.
How did we both go from Scarface to Jack and Jill? How was that the jump we both made at the same time?
I think because that's the one. Listen, because Al Pacino's big for at this point for like our parents' generation
Yeah.
and like huge film nerds. So the one thing I do think maybe a younger person would recognize is Jack and Jill.
True.
And yeah,
Unfortunately,
he's amazing. He's a
very good.
legit living legend. And now
He was on
people,
TV too, wasn't he? Didn't he just
yeah,
do
he
a
was
TV
on the
show?
Amazon show,
Yeah.
Hunters. The thing is, I don't think this will tarnish his legacy in any way, but
No.
when the day comes that he joins Eternal Life, I was like, and he leaves behind a child, like that, and this baby mama, her name is Noor Alfala. Do you know who she dated last before Al Pacino?
Robert De Niro.
No.
Wait, really? Who?
At 22 years old, she was dating 74-year-old Mick Jagger. So she
Okay.
has a fetish, clearly.
Yeah, for money. Come on.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah.
be for love. We
To
don't
be
know.
rich. I mean, I'd do it. Come on.
Man, sleeping with somebody 50 years older than me for that
She has
cash.
a
Did she really
fetish.
had a mission?
Yeah, she has a
And
fetish.
she
wants
clearly completed
money.
it. Who's she dating next? Jay Leno?
If he's rich enough, I don't think he's Pacino.
I'm trying to think
rich.
who's the oldest legendary celebrity.
That's gonna be alive.
The guy from El Camino.
El Camino. She's gonna date
The
Bryan
guy that talks to a
Cranston.
chair.
No.
Oh, Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
That's next.
Clint Eastwood. Yeah,
Nah,
I
won't be
guess
Clint.
so.
he's like
Clint
90
Eastwood's
something.
90. Yeah, he's.
Well, yeah. I don't think it'll be Clint Eastwood.
Is he having a kid soon?
I hope not.
No, he's running for president because he's finally old enough.
Clint Eastwood is 93 years old.
He's in the prime of his life.
Political
Hey,
commentary.
he's still
from
directing.
the
That was
Tweet
pretty
Cat.
good.
Thank you.
Well, it's your world, Nor. We're just living in it.
Yeah, I just
You know-
Google image sure. Yeah, good for him.
I wonder if
I
Al
think they're in it for
Pacino
love.
has the moves like Jagger.
I mean, what does that would be a
That's-
great interview, whoever could pull her off if she's willing to talk.
Only
Which
if
I
she'll
doubt
answer
it.
that very hard hitting question.
Al Pacino. Think about it. When you're 22 years old, I get it. I get there are people who probably are looking for that sugar daddy. But at 22 years
loans.
old, looking for somebody 74 years old and all the biology with that, it's just those.
Biology is the same, man. This
I
is
know,
the thing
but
with
like,
the two of you, and I'm going to say this now. You guys are putting too much into this. The biology is the same. Let's just be honest. It's kind of gross all the time. Like when you really, if you take it, and try and think about it scientifically, it's gross the whole time.
scientifically.
When they're both 25, when they're both 55, when they're both 85, or any combination in between, it's never like, oh, this is wonderful. I mean, at the moment for the people involved, sure, but like if you look at it as an outsider, it's always, it's you're trying to make this into something like beautiful when it's never really that beautiful. I mean, I guess the gift of life is beautiful, right? So sure, that part, but they did that part. I don't know. I think we're putting too much into the fact that he's old.
Your dad, if he makes it, I really hope in 5 years, you say, listen, Dad's not going to be around any longer. I just wanted to be rich, and here you are. I don't know.
He won't know his dad or her dad.
No, I'm saying she says to little Al, like,
I'm saying little AJ could their entire life not knowing they're Al Pacino's child. And then Al Pacino's not going to be there for Christmas.
Baby. I know you're going to be missing me when you got that big, white, wrinkly body on top of you with this loose skin and old balls. Gross.
Oh,
again, I think we're putting too much into the
What
fact
was that?
That's from
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. That's
have that clip on hand. That's impressive.
No,
I just typed it in like that.
We're not giving enough credit to the fact that balls are gross just inherently, if you really think about it.
And then you have Scarface's balls, and he's not Scarface. That movie is 40 years old.
Is he was, right?
Yeah, that's him. When he looked really old in that. You're gonna have a kid 30 years from now.
I'm saying that kid's not even gonna know. I'm telling you, that kid's not even gonna know. Al Pacino's never gonna be the dad, even if he was 30. He wasn't gonna be the dad who sits around the Christmas tree. That wasn't gonna be Al Pacino. Come on.
There's a scene in the movie Heat where Al Pacino and Robert De Niro have a scene together, and they're pretty old at this point. Released in 1995.
Joe Pesci.
30 years later, you're going to have an infant. Essentially, our biology has taken place in the time between when they had real adult children to now. Another one.
DJ Collins.
When you go to that elitist Beverly Hills private school and Al Pacino's in his Walker 87, it's like, hey, how'd my kid do in drawing today?
They'll say he did well, Mr. Pacino. It's again, you guys are putting too much into this.
But I guess those schools are kind of used to it, though. Yeah. I'm sure those
kids are used to it.
The celebrities.
This is not new. This is not new. We covered it. It's not new.
Who's the next one? I'm gonna ask.
Joe Pesci. It's just gonna be the entire cast of The Irishman.
Jesus.
Ending with Martin Scorsese.
So, did you guys see Apple Vision Pro? Apple announced their VR system, Apple Vision Pro. And let me tell you something. When you announce a product and you hear legitimate groans in the crowd, and they're asking for $3,500 for this, only 2 hours of battery, and it's probably only going to be used for porn. I mean, what are we doing here?
I didn't see anything on there that other headsets can't do.
I did.
Yeah.
Well,
What? Be called Apple?
3,500.
well, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
The price tag was different.
yeah, I have like what the Oculus is what $200-300 something like 250,
Yeah.
and it does the exact same thing.
Yeah, what's it made by Tim Apple though?
No, it's
Tim-
made by
Tim
the
Apple.
Zuck himself.
The Zuck himself.
Yeah, but no, it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't. It's just Apple's marketing. Then they'll probably sell out.
Yeah.
That's
He's like,
just how
we
it's
got
gonna
you
work.
suckers.
It's
And
got some cool. They're trying to make it into like a business device. They want you to walk around the office with this on.
Yeah, because you need a corporate credit card to pay for it.
Exactly. But they've already tried
marketed
this.
to businesses.
They've tried that before. They've made like like Microsoft has almost the exact same product on the market right now, and no one knows about the HoloLens because no one cares about it. It doesn't do anything. It's a very expensive headset that's supposed to be used in like a professional setting, and you don't hear anything about it. So
this is
I
gonna
see this
flop.
as going by the wayside.
This is gonna be Google Glass written all over it.
I almost bought Google Glass.
Oh,
I got
that?
a list.
saved your money.
That was when we were in college. It was like
Yeah.
2014-ish.
What was
And
the glasses?
it was actually glasses. They would I don't know if they'd connect to your glasses or if they would go
Oh, it was a whole new glasses. Like it
or
was
if it was
his
whole new
whole thing.
glasses. And it was a little thing that would go down like over your eye. And so it would go down over your eye. And Google ended up stopped selling these things because people were driving with them and getting into crashes.
Yeah.
And
It's
I only
kinda
saw
cool,
one
though.
pair in my life. I saw one pair at the Pittsburgh Wegmans, but I almost
I
bought
never
them.
saw it.
And I got because you had to get on a list to buy these things. So I got on a list as like a student. So I got on a student
Like the
list,
Cybertruck.
and they were like the same thing. It was thousands of dollars for this. So I was out because being a student, I'm not going to spend multiple thousands of dollars on Google Glass. But yeah, I could see this new headset being very similar to that.
Yeah, this I don't think it's gonna last. And like I said, I know PR, VR is growing in the gaming world. That's really it. And for
Mhm.
porn,
Well,
for
that's-
virtual porn, like what
That's
else?
it comes down
How
to
much
is-
more can this evolve? Are we gonna have? Is this gonna put me in a movie? Am I gonna be able to watch a sporting event or a match right into it and get the 4D aspect of it?
Have you tried VR before?
Yes, I've played
Okay.
like virtual games with it. So,
Okay. Yeah,
and I know it doesn't offer that VR sakes. It just
Yeah.
brings me in the VT. So,
Yeah, my thing is there are tech people. They're like, I don't call them tech bros because they're actually not the broy ones. The broy ones I'm sure feel this way too. But
They
like
just sell.
there are these tech people who like they're misreading this entire thing about VR, in my opinion. Like they're seeing VR as like this world altering application. Like you said, people just want to play games and to it. Like they don't no one wants it to be like no one wants to work in the metasphere. Nobody wants to do virtual virtual conferences. Like nobody wants to use these things for those reasons. Like the market is not there. The people who want to buy the headsets want to buy it for those other things that we're talking about, and they also don't have $3,500 to do that. Like it's being marketed at the wrong price, not because again, if a business wanted to, it 3,500 would make sense, but they don't. Businesses aren't doing this. Like professionals are not using VR for their profession. All the regular people are for
It's
their
not
leisure.
there yet.
It's not even that it's not there yet. It's kind of like, what is the point of it? There's no
I mean-
practical reason to use VR. You can literally do all of it. You can name a single thing that we can't do right now that we could do in VR. Name a
I
single
think
thing.
what was pretty cool is so when I got my Vive, I have a Vive Pro, which was
Yeah.
marketed as like a professional headset, and I spent too much on it. They were very expensive back in the day. And one of the big things they would do was these they brought like 3D cameras. I think they brought it to like the NBA finals, and you could watch the NBA finals in your VR headset or something like that. And they were gonna try to premiere movies on it, which never worked out. But
So I'm saying, what is the like genuinely? Someone explain to me what is the actual difference between watching the movie at home Like, all right, during COVID, a bunch of new movies got released to HBO, right? So what would be the functional difference between someone saying, "Oh, you can do VR movies" versus, "Oh, we're just going to put our movies on HBO same day it comes out in theaters"?
I mean, I've watched VR movies, not like not more than like 40 minutes long, but it just puts it on a massive screen. So like I can have like a
Yeah.
40 or 60-inch
You can just go
television,
to the
but
theaters to
it looks like you're in a movie theater.
To me, it just doesn't. To me, I don't. I mean, but in fairness, that's leisure, by the way. That I would still consider that leisure. If they can make that work, that would be something interesting.
You
But
know,
like,
it's really cool. Like you can just lay back, like on mine, you can just lay
yeah,
back,
I get
head
what you're
back on the
saying.
bed, and just have it on your eyes, and
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
But business wise, what name a business function that we can't already do? We already can meet with people anywhere in the world. We can already take virtual tours of office space, of of project venues. Like we can do all of this stuff practically right now. Is it going to be as cool? No. But no one is doing business for cool. Like no one's like, oh, I want my business to be conducted as cool as possible. Except for the Silicon Valley people. Like the regular businesses just want it to be
writing my PDFs in this
cost. You know what I mean? Like effective, like does the job and cost effective. Like if you can do those things, and Skype can do those things, and Zoom can do those things, and Teams can do those things, then they really don't need anything else. Like I just don't see it as like practical for businesses. Like in that it's not going to be as cost effective as just doing something different. And so
I've seen it be used like medical applications. They're starting to try to do that where performing surgeries on VR and stuff like that.
As a training,
they're experimenting with that. No, with like they're experimenting with using these surgical robots being operated by doctors using VR, so you can have a world-class surgeon operate on someone from across the country.
Yeah, but you don't
need
VR to do that.
Exactly.
You don't
the
need
VR
VR
would
to
make
do that.
it
they use a PS4 controller.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm saying right, but
so this would be a real life operation. Exists. Like remember the board game Operation? That's what it would be.
Yeah, the controllers could vibrate.
There's a hospital in Puerto Rico, I believe, that does this actually.
It's again already. There are, and having the VR there, you can see things like you're actually there. And I'm not a surgeon, but I feel like the bigger the viewing screen is, the more successful you'll be.
Strictly necessary.
I don't know. It could be. I'm not a surgeon.
No, I'm telling you, it's not, because I know there are hospitals.
Have you done surgery on TV before?
Well, no, but there are doctors who do it. I'm saying that there are hospitals already in existence that do virtual surgeries. I know that for a fact.
Yeah,
there's one in Puerto Rico. I know.
Do they use like virtual or like in VR?
I don't believe it's in VR because I learned about this 6 years ago.
I thought I thought in that mission it was like a VR thing.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like 6 years ago, before VR was a big deal, there were hospitals already starting to do this. So could it make it easier? Sure. Is it strictly required? No. And so I just don't, $3,500 for something that's not necessary. I feel like they're marketing this wrong. I think that this has got to be a leisure device for a long time. Like they're jumping over leisure because there's more money in corporate, and I don't believe anyone's buying that there's a lot of corporate use for this. Yeah. I think leisure, you can definitely sell leisure, but if you're going to sell it at leisure, it can't be $3,500.
No, I agree. Like the metaverse had something like 35 users in it recently.
Yeah, like no one is using it. Yeah.
Like the metaverse I heard is like dead.
Yeah, no one's using that because it was stupid. Business video game. It was business video game.
There was a law firm that existed solely in the metaverse.
It's stupid. No one's getting attacked in the metaverse. No one is suing their, ex-wife in the metaverse. That's happening here where we live.
The funny thing is, I have an Oculus or whatever. You need to be in the metaverse, and I've never once even attempted to use it.
It had 35 people. I am proud to say, as this podcast is growing, we are getting whole podcasts. We're getting more podcast downloads and views on individual videos in the metaverse.
And we spent a lot less money producing this podcast than they spent producing the metaverse, by the way.
That's what you get, Zuck. Let's get more into to the nitty-gritty of things. So it came out. Let me say something. Experts, there is a man named There's a man named David Charles Grosh, a decorated Air Force veteran who said that the USA retrieved crafts of non-human origin UFOs. This guy Grosh, this Air Force vet, said that there is a UFO retrieval program, and the Pentagon denied it today. Whether they denied it so they want us to not think it exists, but it seems that clearly Grosh is a whistleblower saying that there are we have collected UFOs that have crash landed on this planet. They have got it before we notice, before we could take pictures of it. And the Army vet said, this is what's going on. Do you believe this is the case? Even though the Pentagon denied it? But who knows the truth if we're going to have the eye-opening segment here. Do you think there is a UFO retrievement program in the United States, guys?
Tweet cap deep cut. We talked a little bit about this. Back when, remember those obelisks during COVID were showing up everywhere?
Yeah. Being nonchalant, saying like, "Oh yeah, this is
so the
it."
tweet cap has actually gone into the world of UFO, and I said this then, and I'm actually going to say it again. The reason I am actually inclined to believe the Pentagon over this particular veteran is because of one other name, Donald Trump. Hear me out. We know Donald Trump. We've known him for a while now. He was our president for a brief spell, maybe our president again. That man,
it's gonna be a fun.
I don't believe can ever keep a secret. Certainly not for what's it been? 6 years? If there were UFOs, he knows about them. He was the president, and anyone who's like they wouldn't tell him, they have to tell him. Get over yourself. He was the president, guys. I didn't like it either, but he was the effing president. If there was UFOs, he knew about them, and he hasn't told a single soul. I just don't believe it. I'm not even saying I don't believe in the possibility of UFOs, or I'm not even getting into all that. I'm just saying
on this UFO retrieval program that
I'm saying if there was a UFO retrieval program, he would have got up in the middle of a fucking cornfield in Iowa and just been like, and you wouldn't believe it. And he would tell us all the shit they found, and then he would move on and be like, go to freaking Truth Social, be like, just told the truth to the people of Iowa. Like, it would be, he would have said it already. There's no way after all this time that he would have been keeping that a secret. I just don't buy it. I don't buy that man who cannot stop talking. And I mean, I have the same problem, so I'm not, game respects game in a way, but he can't shut up.
Do you think this is just such an extreme situation? Like, we literally, I don't know. I don't want to accuse government officials to say we will do the absolute worst to you if you leak this.
He had said that. He's basically said that already, and he was lying about it the most recent time. He's been going on and on about how the government officials are taking away everything from him because the deep state and the swamp, like, he does that anyway. That's part of his usual shtick. Come on. If he could throw aliens into this mix, he'd be talking about documents at Mar-a-Lago. He'd be talking about aliens. That's what he'd be doing. And like, he's already saying the government's threatening him, so he's not afraid to say that to people. I mean, I just don't know. I think he would have said something. He hasn't even hinted at it. It's not even like he did like a cute little "we'll have to see" thing. Like, he hasn't even said nothing on this. He's been mum. He promised when he got elected he was going to let us know about the aliens, and he never did. So I really do think that, and again, I don't take that much comfort in this, but we did let this, this individual run our country for a while, and he mentioned none of this, and he's saying all kinds of, he's selling secrets to other countries. Like, I think we would have heard about the alien retrieval program if it was real. So I think that this is a veteran telling some tall tales, as occasionally they'll do. Or maybe he thought, he was retrieving something that he wasn't retrieving. I mean, UFO just means unidentified, foreign object, right? So like, maybe there was, a piece of space metal that was retrieved, but if there were little gray men on it, I think we would have heard about it, and we haven't.
What are your thoughts, Rocky?
I can't top the nonsense that comes out of his mouth sometimes. But I'll just say this. Isn't this guy been a whistleblower before? Did I see that today? Do you guys know?
I'm not aware. That's the first
I
I'm
didn't
hearing
know
him. I
that.
can look into this
I
really
don't
quick
know.
as you
I
are.
mean, if this guy's been a whistleblower before, and if he's been reliable, look into it. I don't know the avenues that they usually take when looking into whistleblower claims, but if there's a reasonable cause to believe that this is real, look into it. I
The
think
To
it's
be
David
clear,
Grouch,
nonsense.
I'm
the
good with them
David
looking
Grouch
into it.
archives.
I'm good
It
with them
sounds
looking
like
into it.
it sounds like nonsense to me. I agree with Ryan on that, and that we would have heard about it in the last 4 years if it was real.
Exactly.
But there's also a good chance they just wouldn't have told
Wait,
him.
you said that
Yada
I
yada.
was saying nonsense, and then you
You were
immediately
saying
agreed with me.
nonsense. You were saying that he
You
was like
just said the
selling.
same thing I said.
I agree with you partially. You did say he was like selling secrets and that he would know he was the president.
Oh yes, I get all that.
He
You
says
don't agree with the
dead pilots
politics
from the
part.
craft of non-human origin, and the world powers are involved in an arm race to reverse engineer
world
crash
powers?
UFOs.
That's just
We
ridiculous.
That's
can't
his
do
quote.
anything
Sorry.
together. The world powers can't agree to anything. Someone said, Rocky's gonna love this one. Someone said the world's gonna get too hot, and the world powers couldn't figure out a way to not make that happen. There's just the world powers are not doing anything collectively. So if that's what he's like actually hanging his hat on, then he could just go away. That's not true. But I really do
that
think
does seem very far-fetched.
I really do think we would have heard. I think that again, a very recent, very powerful American politician would have told us that
He would have been the
if it
one.
was true. Yeah, I do. Whether you like him or not, like I think he would have said that, and he didn't. And I think that's because it isn't there. There's no there.
Yeah, there's the two ideas. Either he didn't know or it doesn't exist.
He didn't. There isn't no. He didn't know. They did not tell the president of the United States.
Again, that's just it's a possibility.
You think they'd just be like, nah, the president doesn't get to know this? No.
Yeah.
President's in charge. If the United States knows something, the president knows it.
Deep State didn't like him.
Oh, the deep state with your nonsense. But no, seriously, that is nonsense. Genuinely speaking, if a program existed, the president would have seen it in a budget. Like they could not. Seriously, if a program existed that was supposed to be clandestine from everyone, including the president, it would be logistically a nightmare to fucking do.
You just put in the budget as like Project Cadmus. Don't explain what it is. Just get the funding and just call it a day.
And the number of
classified.
People, you can't classify it because the president, well, A, can unclassify it with his mind, and B, he has the highest security
That's actually
clearance.
a good question. If the president can unclassify things with his mind,
it's not a good question. You can't do it. But anyway, my point is that you can't. The number of people, then, if this is true, if the number of people involved in keeping it hidden from the president, like there's only one way that two people can keep a secret from everybody, and it's if one of those people is dead. There's the number of people it would take to keep this operating. It would have leaked. And again, I'm not even saying it would have leaked to the public, but you're saying that they got enough people to run these operations clandestinely and keep the president and everyone in the cabinet and all of these higher level government officials out of it too. I'm not saying that, a group
that's
of
one avenue.
No, that's not an avenue. That's a fantasy.
The other one is just doesn't exist.
Yes, that's what's happening.
Yes. No, it's a very odd claim. It's a very bold claim, and unless
strategy,
if they think that if the higher powers think there's something there, look into it.
Yeah, I agree. Look into it, but it'd be nonsensical.
Be wrong on this.
Another UFO program to look into.
Exactly. Do we have a whole branch of the military for that now?
Space UFOs.
No, Space Force. They're real.
Yeah. It's literally called
Space Force.
Space
Tell me
Force?
Space Force doesn't know about it? I see those guys on the train every day. Space Force knows about it. Come on. Space Force knows.
That's going to be a good tweet cap when the aliens show up. Wondering.
Me yelling at them. We were supposed to know.
I got one more final story for you guys. Pete Davidson, another very important person to many.
Okay,
many women, I guess.
Take it back.
Many women.
We can't be like we're comparing Pete Davidson to Taylor Swift. Even I know that's nonsensical.
Oh, that was the comparison?
Yes.
I don't know. People love their Pete Davidson.
No one's blacked out because of Pete Davidson.
Anyways, Pete Davidson, he has a show Butt Kiss right now on Peacock, which is good.
Bub Kiss, right?
Butt Kiss. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid. Now, don't expect it to be this world-renowned Succession deep dive show. It's just him being Pete Davidson. Now, I really hope they stop doing the Pete Davidson origin story. You know, dad passes away in 9/11, overcoming all of that, mental health issues. And, you know, after this, I hope they just branch more and show his other skills, if you know what I mean. But anyways, he and his girlfriend, not as famous girlfriend, I don't know her name, they recently adopted a dog. Sorry, no, they didn't adopt a dog. They bought a dog from a pet store.
Sure.
Emphasis on the bought.
No.
A lot of people encourage you to adopt a dog from the pound or whatever, but he actually bought a dog from I don't know, from a breeder, but a pet store. He and his girlfriend bought a dog. And PETA, you know, everybody's favorite organization, the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, they had some choice words, and they said, shame on Pete Davidson for buying a dog. He's terrible for this. And then Pete Davidson got really upset. And he left this voicemail to PETA. You guys ready? Here we go. Tamed by TMZ. All right, ready?
Well, thank you so much for making a comment publicly that I didn't adopt a dog. I just want to let you know I'm severely allergic to dogs, so I have to get a specific breed. I'm only not allergic to Cavapoo, those type of dogs. And my mom's dog, who's 2 years old, died a week prior, and we're all so sad, so I had to get a specific dog. I wanted to do your research before you can create news stories for people because you're a boring and tired you and suck my dick. And this is it.
All right, so
He was
we
so
see how he
close to
feels
having
there.
the upper hand.
Yeah, the upper hand. What do you
So
mean?
close. He got rude at the end.
No, Rocky has this thing. He has this make believe because he keeps losing arguments that if you say a naughty word, you've lost the argument. That's not fucking true.
Guys,
I
so
think that anger should be left out of arguments and you should rely just on facts. In which case, he brought a lot of valid facts to the table. He needed
Which
very
proves Rocky's
specific-
never been perpetually angry. But as someone who's almost as perpetually angry as Pete Davidson, I think he handled it with poise and grace.
I mean, he needed a specific dog. He needed it apparently right away. Again, adopt, don't shop. But if there are it sounds like valid reasons that you need a dog that you cannot find at pounds.
it must be a
get
very
it.
expensive dog.
So I'm going to say this. My family has bought not one. I mean, my dog currently sleep next to me is rescue. Obviously rescue is great. He's adorable. We love Bruce. But my family growing up, we adopted 2 dogs, 3 dogs. That my parents have adopted 3 of the 5 dogs we've had total. They bought 2 of them. 2, by the way, very good dogs. We love both those dogs. So everyone's like, adopt, don't shop. So what the fuck's gonna happen to those dogs? They're not gonna be like, oh,
the
free.
puppy mill dog kind of things.
No, yeah. A dog gets sent to a pet store.
Mhm.
Everyone says fuck pet stores because PETA got mad at Pete Davidson. I'm only adopting from rescues.
Mhm.
They just fucking kill the pet store dog. That's what they do to the pet store dog. Fact of life. We don't have to like it. Pete doesn't have to like it. Pete doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, by the way. But like, they don't have to like it, but it's a fact. If the pet store dog doesn't get bought, it gets killed. That's what they do to the pet store dog. So if you're buying a dog or if you're adopting a dog, if you're bringing a dog into your life and you promising to take care of it, don't chain it outside like the schmucks who had Bruce before us did. Like, if you're going to take care of the dog and like be a good dog owner, then it doesn't matter where they got the dog from because you're giving the dog a good life, and the dog's not going to have a good life anyway. And it's insane because PETA is about the ethical treatment of animals.
Didn't they kill a dog or something like that?
PETA is willing to let animals die all the time. All the time, PETA is willing to let animals die because they don't even understand their own cause. They don't even understand what ethical means. The animals can't live by themselves. They're animals. The dogs can't go to the grocery store, PETA. Like, it's just insane. They don't know what ethical means. They think every animal should have the fucking right to vote or whatever. I don't even know what they think. I think that every animal needs to be like, they don't know what animals are, which is insane because their entire organization is supposed to be protecting them. These animals, all of the animals that PETA's trying to protect, and we've had to deal with PETA before, my wife and I, not like publicly like Pete Davidson, but as part of my wife's research as a PhD scientist. PETA would go to conferences that she was at all the time and be very upset with people like my wife for doing research on mice. But there is ethical standards for doing research on mice. And there are ways to do so as humanely as possible so that the mice are comfortable and the mice are living the best life that they possibly can, while also contributing toward science, which people need to live the best life that they can. Pete almost wants the fucking lab mice to just run around. They're going to get crushed by a fucking car on the highway. There's nothing ethical about what PETA wants for animals. Nothing. So if you bought a dog, don't let PETA or anyone else tell you that that was wrong. Adopt, don't shop. To me, if you're saving a dog if you take in a dog to take care of it. If you're willing to put in the work to actually take care of a dog, to train it, to raise it, to make it a part of your family, then you've done that dog a service because no one else is taking care of the dog. And Pete is certainly not fucking taking care of the dog.
Definitely. Hopefully this could be the voicemail that changes everything.
Was that too rude, Rocky?
I mean, that's not how I would have put it, but you hit all the right points, I feel like. I agree for the most part. I mean, I would just say that taking the power away from pet stores and puppy mills is the main goal.
It's not going anywhere, dude.
They are actually going away. They're being banned in New York State.
Yeah, but it's not going anywhere. And you know what? If the government is stepping in to do that, then that's awesome. Unfortunately, and there's nothing that we can do about it, when it happens, when the government of New York makes it so puppy mills and the pet stores are done, all those dogs are fucking dead. I'm telling you that now. I think it's important that people know that.
Dead. I mean,
no, they will be killed.
Sold in New York.
If they can ship them to another state, they will. If they can't unload, it's product to these people. These people see them as products. If they cannot unload the product and it becomes too expensive to hold the product, it's unlike a cell phone or unlike inanimate objects that are product, which can theoretically sit in the store without costing too much, right? Dogs, in addition to the regular cost that any other product has of having to keep it in a store and have a storefront, etc., also costs food, needs to be watered, needs to be walked. There's so much extra money that goes into holding that product. If the product becomes unprofitable because they held it too long, they will get rid of the product. That is a fact of the way these groups work. Puppy mills, pet stores, that's what they're going to do. If the dog doesn't get adopted before it becomes untenable, before they're not going to recoup their money and make profit, they will get rid of the dog because the dog is the same thing as a fucking, iPhone, as a whatever. It's a product to them. It's to be sold and discarded like we do with, produce. It is not it's not a living thing to them. And that's something that people are not getting. I
agree with you that these dogs will but that should be our job, is to make sure that these dogs aren't dead, but at the same time trying to slow down the production of these puppy mills. And that
and the government will do that. And I'm saying that's fine. But until that happens, if you save a dog, you save a dog.
Exactly. No, I agree. And I do agree with that. And that, again, you can say adopt, don't shop. But again, as you point out, there are legitimate reasons when people actually with our dog. Our dog was from an abusive pet store and we did buy her, but
they're all abusive pet stores. Pet stores by and large are abusive.
I mean,
the concept is abusive.
There can be good ones. Or
the concept is abusive because they're all puppy mill dogs or cat. You know what I mean? Like
you can have special breeders that actually do care for dogs.
Well, that's different. If you bought it from a breeder, that's different. I mean, I know dog breeders. I know people whose actual job is dog breeding. They're very nice people, and I've seen the space that they keep the dogs in. There's plenty of space. They have tons of food, places to run around, activities for enrichment. I'm not talking about all people who breed dogs. I'm saying, but those people are not going pet stores. Those people are selling to select clientele for high dollar amounts. That's what those people are doing. They're like going around. They're saying, $2,000 for a dog.
Not around here.
I'm throwing random
numbers. We have a lot of Amish and Mennonite that breed dogs and do it in a pretty ethical way. And they'll sell locally. What they don't sell locally, they kind of sell wholesale to pet stores across the country.
And listen, unfortunately, that means as soon as the Amish do that to the dogs, Genuinely, I'm saying this. They're going from wholesome and ethical to not, because the pet store is not going to hold a dog that's costing them money. They're just not. Best case scenario, the pet store surrenders it to a rescue. That's the best case scenario.
Yeah,
And
and
not
that's the
every
part you
pet
gotta
store
cut.
does that.
You just gotta cut out the pet store part, or cut out the abusive tactics of these pet
Right.
stores.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm good with that, but that's not going to happen overnight.
No,
PETA
you know
PETA's
what?
done absolutely nothing to make that happen. So if you're buying a dog from a pet store, I think it's important that you realize, because you could hear this and you could feel bad, because I mean, yeah, PETA's a joke, PETA's moronic, but they are still saying, well, you bought the dog, you didn't rescue the dog. You did rescue the dog. Yes, you didn't get it from an animal rescue, but that dog was just as likely to end up dead if it sat on the shelf in a pet store than if it was at an abusive home or abandoned outside. That dog is just as good as dead, just statistically just as likely to die, in my opinion. It's a coin flip. It's a coin flip. If a dog gets abandoned on the street, it's a coin flip that they find a good home. And if a dog gets put at a pet store, there's a coin flip whether or not the pet store will surrender the dog in a way that helps the dog versus just killing the thing. I think
Sorry,
it's a coin flip at
that's a
best.
side note. You did just say statistically speaking, and then in my opinion in the same sentence.
Sure. Obviously,
Statistically
everyone
speaking,
listens.
in my opinion.
Okay, so obviously
Yeah,
everyone
leave
listening
my
knows I'm
boy-
not quoting stats.
I'm sorry. I just had to point that out.
But no, the statistic, of course, being the coin flip, the 50-50.
Oh,
That's what I
okay,
meant by
okay.
statistic. So the
Okay.
statistic being that 50% to 50%. It's a coin flip as to whether or not the dog on the street gets rescued versus the dog in the pet store to start with doesn't just get killed when nobody buys it. And so I think that is something that should be talked about more. And if PETA was good at their supposed mission, they would be talking about that more. But instead of attacking these pet stores for doing this, they're attacking the Pete Davidsons for doing this. Pete Davidson has done a good thing because,
Yeah.
again, 50-50 shot that dog was going to be dead anyway. PETA shouldn't be arguing with Pete Davidson. PETA should be saying, good job for saving that dog. Did you know that it's a coin flip whether that dog would have been alive by this time next week? Pet stores are amoral. Pet stores with, kill practices should be outlawed in the United States. You can do this the right way, and PETA theoretically should be doing that. But no, because you know what's going to go viral? The fucking cutesy fucking, clam fucking billboards they have all over Baltimore, and the fights with Pete Davidson they do on Twitter. They're just freaking attention. They just want attention. That's all they want. They don't care about animals. They don't care about people. They don't care about anything. They just have a cause so they can talk about something to get attention. And you know what? Cheaper ways to do that. Far less harmful ways to do that. Just get a microphone. You can talk on a podcast. No one's going to stop you. But you don't do that. You're trying to pass yourself off as some sort of authority and defender of animals, and you're doing a piss poor job of it. So I'm glad Pete Davidson's stepping in to try and fix it, since PETA is completely inept at doing it.
Yeah, leave my boy Pete alone. Let him cook and make comedy.
Skeet Davidson, sorry.
Listen, guys, we got a lot done today. Thank you so much for coming on. Rocky Palomini, Ryan Page, great stuff as always. Can't wait to do the next tweet cap, and hopefully with some more healthy air.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do you want to see a picture? How bad was the air in New York City?
Oh, horrendous. I'll show you. Those who are watching from afar, here it is.
This was
Oh,
today.
Rocky.
It's kind of hard to tell on the screen, but it was very yellow. I'll send you the picture on Twitter. Actually, it's on my Twitter. You can see it.
So
it was like Mexico in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's a real life filter. This isn't my photo, but this is Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
Straight
that's
up
what it looked like
orange.
today. It was awful. It stunk like smoke.
Yeah,
And I had my window
MetLife
open in the
Stadium.
office today, and I got yelled at. Apparently, you're not supposed to breathe the air in.
No, you're not. It's actually very bad for you.
Yeah, I had my window open literally the whole day.
Yeah, I actually wore a mask today, K95 for it. It was gross, really, really gross. And I have this picture as well right here. Just pulling it up. I'm getting a new phone soon. I have an upgrade. And too many photos to deal with.
Has it basically cleared up though, downstate?
It's less orange.
It's a lot less orange.
I think it's supposed to drag out to at least tomorrow, and then Friday we'll get our normal air. We'll have quote unquote normal air. Where I just had this.
Did you
Sorry.
get it, Ryan?
I
At
mean,
all?
it's a little hazy, but nothing got orange.
Oh, it's just been so because I've been saying like people are complaining about it. But like it's kind of in like a week, the novelty will have worn off and it'll be annoying. But right now, I've never seen orange tint in like
Yeah.
just going outside. It's kind of
Mhm.
neat, honestly. I
Yeah,
know
no,
As long
it's
as it
just
wasn't
a little bit
toxic,
hazy.
I did think it was
exactly.
cool. Is
It
that
is
weird
kind
to
of cool.
say?
Yeah.
Because
No,
of
no,
No,
the
you
I-
guys
and
have
everything like
warnings.
that.
Your stuff's toxic. We don't have the same air quality warnings. Our stuff doesn't smell like smoke. No, seriously,
When you put
like
it that way, Ryan.
all day it's
Yeah.
like so all day it's a little foggy essentially, which is not usually the case. But like I live close enough so I can like see the
This
monument
other one here.
and like around the monument
Yeah,
it looks a
you
little
can see the
blurry.
tint. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Have another. It's just showing for those listening on YouTube. You can see me showing the tint.
Yeah, but
So we were
it's just
lucky. We didn't get
crazy.
it quite as bad down here.
Yeah, no, it smelled like a straight up campfire.
It really did. I was just kind of worried that like my suits were gonna smell like smoke because I don't want it to get them dry clean.
Yeah, I figured it'd be even worse up you. Like you're way closer to the
Yeah,
to
we're
Quebec
really close
technically.
to it. There's like just the lake between us because it's
Insane.
around.
My parents said their cars are covered in soot in Connecticut.
Oh, really?
Really.
We didn't have any. We didn't have any soot.
It was, didn't it?
That's
Not covered.
It rained. It rained in
Huh?
Quebec, I think, today.
Maybe.
Oh, hopefully.
I know they were talking we were supposed to get rain. I think that might have changed. But like I don't know. I hopefully it's supposed to clear things up. But we were supposed to go to. I mean, as Pittsburgh's going to get hit really hard this weekend with it because they might cancel the Mets games this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
canceled the
Supposed to go to
Yankee
those.
game
Supposed to go to
today,
those. Yeah,
which
they canceled
was
the Yankee game.
which was weird because again, I think this is tomorrow's supposed to be similar, and they just made tomorrow a double header, which is worse. But hopefully maybe it's done by 4 p.m. when the game starts. So
Yeah, hopefully it's passed, but we'll see.
we will definitely never forget this one. This is definitely going on the timeline pod.
This is a weird one. That's for sure.
Oh man.
Imagine how
Well,
big that fire's got to be.
yeah.
Oh,
Have
it's
you
gonna be
seen pictures
huge.
of this fire that
No, I
started
haven't
it?
seen
Isn't that
any
kind
pictures
of
of
weird?
this fire. Yeah, like I have no idea where this fire is.
Are we gonna
I
start
know
another
they say
conspiracy?
it's a Canadian, it's a fire in Canada, just north of our border, and the smoke's just come down south. That's all I've heard.
Yeah. Why aren't they releasing the photos of this fire?
I mean,
Oh man.
the Sheik tried to warn us.
Clearly.
Fuck the fire.
On that note,
The wildfire, yeah.
fuck the wildfire. Well, I definitely learned to appreciate fresh air more from that. I definitely will say
Honestly,
that.
I really did.
Yeah.
You know,
What
we
was
were
it?
in a level red alert.
Yeah,
And
it was a
Yeah,
what,
New York's
326
Red is
326
like
score.
medium. Purple is the worst. That makes no sense to me.
Straight up hazardous.
Yeah. Like, why isn't red the worst? Like code red, like that should be the worst.
5-alarm
Actually,
fire.
I will say I work at a hospital now, and I have to list the codes, and I don't remember what they all mean. But red is not the scariest code that we have.
Isn't blue like the worst or something like that?
I don't remember them all, but like they all mean something different, and they're all scary in different ways. But just
Mhm.
looking at the list, I was surprised. Red was like fire, which was like scary. Of course, you don't want to be the hospital fire, but compared to some of the other stuff that was potentially on that list, some of the other colors that they'll blurred over the loudspeaker, red was not the most intimidating.
Unbelievable
That's
stuff.
just good marketing, I guess, to say we're in red alert.
Appreciate the air, guys, and I appreciate your time. We'll see you very soon.